Good afternoon and welcome to the Blue Line Metals Edge here for Monday, November 22nd. I'm Phillip Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. Let's get down to it. Here I plugged up a couple websites here for you guys to watch and a couple things that I'm watching here in the markets. Obviously, big sell-off in the metals today. So looking at the Morning Express, a couple things we were identifying, a few different chart patterns here, S&P, one on silver. Some of these might have been violated today. And on the gold market here, something to pull up. On Friday we were saying and all last week that 1851 was a critical level, and when I saw we closed below it on Friday, many of us, we didn't take any action in the market at all. So you're going to want to keep an eye on when you have key levels that are identified. Those key levels have to hold. You can't see closes below these key levels. You really want to watch things and how they close. Are they accelerating into the close, the sell-offs? And those are big red flags out there. And I think identifying red flags is one of the most important characteristics and skills that a successful futures trader can have. So a couple things to watch. Gold, your managed money net longs, highest since April 2020. That along with silver highest since June 2021 fallout. So what happened was a lot of people reading into this stagflation story, literally buying the highs on everything, chasing the market as it goes up. Then when it breaks support, they puke out like what we saw today. So we're our stance here, we broke that critical level. I'm sorry, actually now that was critical resistance. Remember, old support, new resistance. The pivot here, 1850. You start getting down to these support levels like this 4-star support. We just broke through it like a knife. So, and then this level held for a little bit. Most of the afternoon, the later afternoon, seemed like a lot of the selling had already happened. So let's just really get in a chart here. So the breakdown. See this close right here? This close 1846.80. That's going to be a big problem. You close below it. Remember, we've been identifying 1851. That's the level. Close below it. Red flag. Don't necessarily buy 1851. And if you're going to buy it, you better be putting a stop just below 1836. So again, big washout. What was the reason for the washout? A couple things here. If you go to Bloomberg, and it was Biden keeps Powell as Fed chief, names Brainerd as vice chair. So as a result of that, you're going to see more hawkish commentary coming out of the Fed. I thought that she would have painted a little bit more uncertainty, a little bit more dovish, and that's how gold would have accelerated higher. Also, you had big red flag as well. Dollar index turning back up. Friday closed right back up. Took out today's highs and we're on the high of the day. So I said gold can't make a new high unless you get that dollar index to break down. So that's another big problem as well. Now flipping over to, again on the dollar, part of the reason for the acceleration of the dollar is that those COVID cases, and I know people, they don't even want to hear about it. I don't even want to hear about it either. I actually thought it was a lot of political agenda when they were talking about different countries coming up and having new COVID statistics, new COVID cases and deaths. So you go to the U.S. and obviously we're trending up here, and you drop that down in, this is in Illinois, but the U.S. kind of paints the same picture. If you go and you click this drop down and you go to the one country that really made the highlights was Austria, and here look at these new COVID cases for Austria. New all-time high. So it's understandable that they're going to go into lockdowns. That's just the way they operate. You go over into Germany. That's the other one as well. Dropping down here. Sorry, it takes so long. So Germany popping up again as well. And because of that, you'll see that their currencies, like the euro currency, will make a new low on that type of news. The dollar index, the inverse, will make new highs. So, and many of the other currencies are going to, they know that if, Europe is accelerating, that the pound was. And we talked last week, I actually drew this trend line here, and it was, we see this bounce up and this sell off, and it'll most likely retest, these previous lows. So that's something to keep an eye on. You go to silver. Silver was hit with gold as well today. This new trend line that we're drawing where we kind of come through this bottom here, we think that, closer is $24. So a lot of stuff you want to be really patient on. it gets a red flag. You don't want to get involved with it. Same thing with platinum. Broke that key level support, 1051. I'm waiting on it. I think that the 995s, a lot of people have some buys down in those levels. That's going to be your next area of support. Now you go to oil. Oil was one of the most interesting stories today. We saw a big recovery on oil, and we took some off on Friday. I said that it most likely would come back up to this level. We got really close. A lot of people that were a bit more proactive, they had taken their positions off here, but you could see oil is positive on the day, and there's a lot of things going on in the market. You go to this 5-minute chart. So right here, this big sell-off that kind of derailed where we were going throughout the day, and we were looking really good. A lot of people purchased some oil down in these levels early in the session this morning. So we get right here, we get here, and what happens? You got Biden comes out and he says that he's poised to release some more oil reserves, and so market starts to sell off on that news right here, and then we end up coming right back and recovering, and it was due to, again, OPEC comes out and says, well, if you're going to play that game, you know, we're going to play our game as well. So we might even cut some of our production levels, and that's got really an underlying bid. I mean, OPEC really wants oil going higher. Now, something that I'm watching that is going to affect two different markets as well. You know, you throw in Russian troops in a Google search, click news, and they're saying it's about 100,000 soldiers here. Fears as 100,000 troops amass, and these are just different news sources, you know, that are out there. And if you get, you know, this big buildup in troops, and they do actually go and invade Ukraine, which there's a lot of talk about, you're going to see two markets are going to be greatly affected. And I think that, you know, I don't think gold's going to go up because we saw last time they invaded Ukraine. You even had that Ukrainian soldier shot down that plane. Gold was up 20 bucks, ended up down $40 that day. So I don't think that's your safe haven play. I think oil, if they're going to go to war or start a conflict with the Ukraine, they're probably going to get new sanctions. They're probably going to be punished. Crude oil prices probably go up on it. The other market that I think you got to look at is going to be the wheat market. CWAH22. I think that's that. Yeah, wheat. So we go to a daily chart on wheat. It's down here. Sorry, I'm in the Chicago office, so setup's a little bit different. So you can see wheat keeps going up here, and I think that it's baking in that news that if you remember, Ukraine's like one of the only countries, and also Russia, that have excess wheat. They're able to export it. Everywhere else is pretty tight. You get that kind of conflict going on, you're going to see those wheat exports come off. And I think wheat prices take another leg higher. So don't short wheat, is my opinion. Or if you're going to try and pick a top and short it, you're going to want to have calculated risk, things like puts. But every indicator that we have here shows that that's a very strong market. And I do think that it will underpin crude oil, and crude oil prices could recover pretty nice on this news as well. So that's all I got for you today. Again, real disappointing action in the metals. Going to take a pause on those. Probably won't put too much on. Start looking at some of these other markets here. That's the great thing about commodities. There's, you know, 40 different ones, so you can always look at other things as well. Again, I'm Phillip Streible, Chief Market Strategist, Blue Line Futures. Got any questions, reach out to me. Be sure to like, subscribe to our channel as well. Good luck, good trading, and thanks a lot.